All right, it's June 1st, and I'm doing a quick garden tour. It's been a terrible spring in upstate New York, the Northeast. It's been cold. It's June 1st, and last night it was 40 degrees. Um, and the rain, we've been getting rain almost every day. I have a rain gauge, and I pulled 6 inches of rain out of that in 2 days, and then another two or three after. So just totally saturated the greenhouse. This greenhouse is up a foot above soil, the native soil, and then I filled it with my native soil up the rows and compost and the walkways, and it's wicking water. You can see how high that bed is up. This has not been watered this whole season. It's just wicking water up out of the ground because it's warmer in here. So you got some onions over there. A little bit of these left. Went to the market the last two Saturdays. We're able to sell a little bit of vegetables. The lettuce I planted in here, I wish I would have planted more. I didn't because last year when it warmed up in the spring, and I'm trying to keep it warm in here for my cucumbers and my peppers, all the lettuce that I had planted bolted. So this year I planted very little, and it's been cool, and I wish I would have kept it. The carrots I made that video of, they're doing pretty good. They're about ready. Some are harvestable, but a lot of them are split from all the water. So there we are with that. The peppers out here, they're yellowing. Fairly certain it's from the cold nights. They'll bounce back. Doing a little better over there in black plastic. But those are some cherry tomatoes that I didn't get in. Some extra cucumbers, big beefs. All this lettuce needs to be transplanted. Um, but that's where we're at in here. Take a walk. You can see just the mud ruts from coming up here with a little truck. Carry plants to the greenhouse out of the basement that we started. The celery we have transplanted is doing phenomenal. Probably the best looking celery I've had, but celery loves water. So there's that. This is some spinach that I direct seeded, I don't know, a few weeks ago. Doing fairly well. Beets are doing okay. Not doing great. They're doing okay. This is a little disheartening here. It's what we've experienced with a lot. So I planted all this out with kale, put insect netting over it. And while I have a few plants left, I guess what my assumption of what happened here is because I don't till, when I put the plastic down, to keep the weeds down and to, in the early spring, warm the soil so we can transplant in a little earlier. Well, I feel like when I put the plastic down, I created a home for waking up the slug population early. I've had slugs for years, and I just have always been under the assumption that if the soil's healthy and the plants are decent going in, then the slug damage isn't so bad. Well, this year it's devastating because most of that kale's gone. Over here, where I just threw the plants that look terrible with no plastic and no netting to keep them out, well, kale's doing great. So there's a bright side to that. Flea beetles aren't even bothering it in this bed. I don't know. I don't have any explanation for that. I guess there's some damage, but not terrible. This is arugula I harvested some of. Got a lot of flea beetle damage on it, but customers know we don't spray, so that's part of the game. We can come over here. This is squash, and the slugs are wreaking havoc on some of it. These are the extra plants from when we planted this bed we're coming up on. Garlic's doing good. I feel like it's doing good. I won't know till I harvest it, but there's even slugs on the garlic. Unbelievable. And in here we have our winter squash. So we have acorn in this row, butternut in this row, and then acorn in this row over here. And you can see the cold is causing the leaves to yellow. But it's June. If I don't start, it's supposed to warm up this week. If I don't get these plants in, I'm not going to have a long enough growing season to get a harvest. So, got to make the move and gamble. The rain has just been atrocious. Everything's rutted up, messed up. A couple times this year I've thought about just saying heck with it and only grow inside greenhouses for myself and quit vegetable farming this year, because I don't know what I'm going to get. And here we have the new hoop house. We have eggplants. They look like they're struggling over here. Soil temp when we planted them was up to 55. And we had 4 nights, 39 degrees, 41 and a 42. And yesterday was when I was in here, I had the probe in the ground, and I have 46-degree soil temperature. So we'll see. Yeah, I guess it's 50 right now. But the tomatoes down the middle. We got our big beef tomatoes over here, and our cherries over there. That side, see, the roll-up side goes up on that, so that doesn't get the intense much heat technically driven into the ground. But these eggplants, they're yellowing too. Maybe not as bad. I know they're going to come back. It's going to warm up this week. But just a bummer when you take plants that are beautiful, lush green, some of the best you've ever grown, and then transplant them and have them go backwards. We transplanted those last weekend. But the forecast had lows at nighttime in the 50s, but then it drops to 39. So got a few radishes along the back wall of the house there. And we can get a harvest off of those for next week. Farmer's market. Had no success with radish outside or carrots because finally figured it out. As soon as they get up, the slugs come and eat them. been vegetable gardening and farming, and yeah, we've had some slugs in the past, but never like the invasion we're getting right now. Those are pea shoots. Got some arugula seeded under that netting. I don't know. It'll keep the flea beetles out. It always has before, except this year it's not. They're coming up out of the ground. Another batch of beets there. They seem to be doing okay in this weather. These are our onions that we transplanted out a little while ago. They're looking pretty nice. This is a bed of radish and turnip that I seeded. That's getting weedy. That's the other problem with this weather is we get maybe one day of no rain outside, so trying to even keep up on the weeds is almost impossible because they have so many tasks that need to get done this time of year that can spend the rest of the day weeding this bed, or I can go try and get my corn planted. This is a bed of carrots. It's the worst bed of carrots I think I've had. Well, no, it's not as bad as this one that was up and is just completely gone. But it's one of the worst I've had. Seeded that out, had it covered, saw quite a few carrots coming up, and then they just keep going less and less and less as the slimy invaders come in and wipe them out. I guess my only option on my way of doing things is I ordered Sluggo. It's organic approved. I don't like using any even organic approved type of killers because I don't think killing is really the solution. I think the predators should be here to take care of them. But the problem is normally our slug population's kept down by all the toads and snakes that we don't harm and provide habitat like that. Flower bush there to hide in, and the mint under these trees, the horseradish, all those strawberries. Toads like to live in there, and snakes. Well, they're not out because it's too cold, but the slugs are. So, gotta do something. These are some peas. They're kind of okay. A little behind from the cool and the rain, which peas, it's so weird. They like cool, but we're behind on those. These are sugar snaps right here. And those are shell peas. So that's where we are. This was a bed of radish, and I had okay germination on it. And I came out, and what I'm left with, nothing. So normally we have, areas like this in between our rows. Those are golden berries, and well, they're delicious. They also bring a nice home to toads and snakes that will come out and keep the things that we don't want in here in check. But it seems like it's just too cold for them. I've seen a snake out here, and my greenhouses have quite a few, so that's telling me something. So we also have, it's not real big, but a little pond that is usually got millions of frogs in it. And while there are some, you can see one right there. Where is he? It is right there, even though it's cool. I don't think they're as active. So, those are another part of our pest management. And then down through here, every one of these rows has been not completely wiped out, but pretty close to either root rot or slug damage. They're 100 feet. We had 100 feet of cabbage. There's a little bit left. This was 100 feet of broccoli and cauliflower. Pretty much gone. One or two plants. And this was our fall Brussels sprouts. Pretty much there's no recovering from that on Brussels sprouts. They take too long. And the mollusks, decided to have them for dinner. So none of that. This row was planted in bok choy, and that's gone too. I came up here. I go to work at 1 o'clock in the morning and usually get home around 2. So I'm in bed by 6. So I don't get up here at nighttime and to see, to inspect for slugs very often. And I work, 5 days a week. So, but I did force myself up here the other night, and I was disgusted by the amount of bugs that were creeping around. So that is what it is. And I know that it's just heavy rains that are causing this. Tomatoes we transplanted outside are yellowing from the cold. But I went by the weather report, it said it was going to be in the 50s. I plant all my outdoor tomatoes and peppers in black plastic. In the Northeast, you need the heat. We don't get it. Some years they would do okay when we garden, but when we switched to putting them in plastic, the yields went way up. So these are all determinate tomatoes. Our sauce tomatoes, we're really hoping they come back. Supposed to see some 80s this week, and we definitely have some good soil moisture. So hopefully. The other, see on this side we have comfrey as a hiding place for our predators and to attract bees. Comfrey does a lot. I just cut it right down sometimes, feed it to my chickens and my pigs. If I have an acre of pane, I kind of wrap myself in it. Seems to work pretty good. Fire peach tree. So I can't say that vegetable farming so far this year has been a great success, and the years past I've done better in the spring and the fall than I do in the summer. So a little bit concerned. And we do have some okay looking lettuce over here. I guess I just walked right by it and didn't talk about it. Yeah, this was all bulb fennel. There's not even a trace that it was ever in here. So this bed here was, or still is, was arugula, lettuce, mizuna, and what I had hoped to do, because that's like my favorite salad, is plant it all together and just cut it for salad. But the lettuce came up pretty, direct seeded that mix that I had made. The lettuce came up pretty sparse. The weeds went crazy because I didn't get a chance to get up here with a hoe. So probably just going to, I don't know, harvest the lettuce out of it in a couple weeks and terminate it. Go from there. Right here I have some transplanted lettuce. You can see the murre, the green. It's a little off in color. I haven't harvested it, I guess from the wet. But also with all the rain, the weeds are much more rapid than normal. Normally I can keep a bed like this clean. Oh, I hoed this last Sunday. Got right up to it. Where we're at. Kohlrabi's doing beautifully. Zoom in on it. Yeah, there's a kohlrabi. Almost ready to harvest, so pretty happy with that. Some of it's pretty small, some of it, I don't know if it was eaten by slugs or just died from all the water. But as we get down the bed further, it's wetter, obviously. And it's not performing as well. But I'm thankful for what we got out of there. So, or what we'll get out of there. This was a bed of carrots. I flame weeded this. Stale seed bedded it. So, flame weeded it. Planted the carrots. Put black over it. Waited until before the carrots were up. I waited a week with the black over it just to get any seeds to germinate. Burned it with a torch again, and been successful with that in the past. But bam, weeds laughed and said, "Oh yeah, try again, sucker." So yeah, that's the June 1st garden tour. Kind of disheartening, but farming ain't easy, or everyone would do it. The rhubarb, I guess, from the water stress, it just all bolted. So there's really no rhubarb there. It's sellable. I don't really love rhubarb, so this is a bed of lettuce and weeds, so harvesting that will be fun. But I'm just gonna let it go, and the best thing to do is let the lettuce go, harvest what I can, and then don't let any of these weeds get to seed, but get it covered, get it tarped, get them killed, and then the rest of the season I'll benefit from that. So had our struggles, but you can see like this deep compost mulch system works fairly well for weeds. We can walk up here as we get up the beds where I have drainage. You can see between my beds, and I don't overly care too much. These weeds I can hoe out, but this bed been fairly. There's no weeds in it. I hoed it once, put carrots in. They're not up yet. Pulled the black a few days ago. Flame weeded it. Not really much weeds. And actually, this bed here, going up, we got carrots. We have a few weeds, but nothing I can't take care of in a half hour. Actually, 10 minutes. And the further we go up the hill, the less weeds we have. And all that is good compost that been brought to the right temperature to keep the weeds down. But when the rain just keeps it, because my theory on how it works, and this is a little different than others, but compost, when you just put it on top, the top like quarter-inch stays dry like dust unless you're irrigating, but everything below it stays like a perfect nice moisture for plants. So the only time that top quarter-inch to half-inch is really wet is when you're irrigating it, it's raining, so it's not really hospitable to seeds germinating. Well, when it rains every day and the groundwater level has come up and you're actually wicking water up out of the soil every time the sun does shine, I don't know. In my opinion, that's just the system fails. But we'll see. And one last note before I get out of here, my parsley is loving life. I don't know, I guess parsley must be closely related to celery and its water requirements. So, time to regroup and appreciate what we do have and get these vegetables cranking. So, over there under the black tarp is the cover crop that we grew. That was rye and vetch. You can see what it looks like after tarp's full. I'm not going to walk all the way over there. But see the dead straw looking stuff up? That's what it looks like after we pull the tarps, and it wasn't smashed down enough when we put them on. But so that will feed the soil, healthier plants, no brought in fertilizers, blah blah blah. But I think maybe harboring slugs, so I solve multiple other problems and create another one. Never like this before, but I don't know. I've restarted in trays. I have cabbage going again, a few Brussels sprouts, but I know that they're not going to be sellable. They'll be too small. So those will be for me. So I have cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, and bok choy all starting over, and bulb fennel. I'm out of bulb fennel seeds because normally I'd plant that whole bed like that, harvest it off. So, just once they get somewhat sellable, sell a good handful of them a week, and then about midway through the summer, be planting them again for the fall. So I only had enough seeds to do that twice. Not really twice, so it'd be 1.5 amount of those plants, and well, that's all I have is half. So I don't know if I'm even going to order more seeds. Kind of just pivot and go with something else. Because beating my head against the wall with some of this stuff is just frustrating. But thought we'd share. Have a nice day. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up.